Hey people, I ain't never eat no matzah, and I don't feel the urge. I probably never will. But this is what the Jews would eat during their fast, week coming up to Passover, a flat unleavened bread. And they say the base word just comes from this MXE, but they'll spell it all different ways in the Bible. And where it comes from, it's just a misreading of the word fast. I've been reading here in Isaiah 58 past several movies. I've read different lines through here. It's a short chapter. I read 1 and 2 in the last movie, and I'm going to read this 3 through 6 now, and it's all about this fast. And you can see it spelled the XMNU. It's the matzah backwards here. And you'll see it come up again just below here, the fast, just the XMCM, the fast come. And then here again to TXUMU, the U fast. And you can see this word matzah, and matzah come up just before it. They say it means debate here. And it only comes up one time. They just make this up because they say here, it means strife. But then again, they'll say this word meant strife here, which only comes up 2 times. Strife, controversy. But they're definitely teasing the word MX and XM throughout here. And the matzah taxum, the bread taxum. And here again in 4, the TXMU. And then in 5, you see it, which is the XUM of fast. And then again, the XUM when you call a fast. And then in 6 again, the XUM, the fast. But everybody else in the world said a fast is a MUX. The Mox. Proto-Indo-European, the Mox. The Sanskrit, the Indo-Aryan, the Mox, fast, early. It means fast is quickly, soon, quickly. In the Zoroastrianism, that's the people who read the Hebrew best. They call it quickly. In Irish, same thing, early, meaning soon. Breve, you see that in music, it's an Italian word. Play this fast. And this in line 5 explains it. When you're in boot camp and they give you 5 minutes to eat, and it cram, QRA, and then backwards, the cram whatsum. The cram what's mui, MUI, much. To cram what's much, mui, to much them, the cram much in. If you want to cram much in, you have to do it quickly, fast. Fast doesn't mean you're not eating. It means you're eating real fast. You're eating too much. You're eating mui, muchum. So let me hit a couple of these words you're going to recognize before I start here. But, this is in a grip, with the fist in a grip. And, Agrippa, that was a line of wicked rulers. You can see it here, hero, that's the Hebrew word they say is evil. The hero is evil, and evil these Agrippa, the last known king from the Herodian dynasty. The Herodian, the evils. They'll pronounce it hero, but it's a E-R-O, the ro, hero, the ro, R-O being the base word. Hath done evil, has afflicted. And so when the soldiers come back from overseas after killing everybody, that's why you call him a hero. Because in your name, he has done evil, the hero. They were killing for the Lord. In a schmuck hero. A schmuck, that's somebody who just goes on what they heard. A schmuckety schmo. I've done heard all about you. But this tells, where this ration come from, in a grip, It's tight in my fist, the ration. A L before A reads as an N. You can see it right here. Not, that's where they get that word. The N, N-O, and the T is over here. You see it all throughout the Ten Commandments. Not trash, no trash, I should not murder, and not nap, NOTNAP. Don't be sleeping with your neighbor's wife. And not nab, NOTGNB, nab. Don't be stealing. And so it's in a grip. In a grip, the rationed. And of mucks, of the flatbread. They ration the bread to tax, TX, to tax them. The ration the bread, tax them. That's where they're getting this fasting from. And underneath here, on high, this is in a morum. That's the word for the Egyptian pyramids. Is that tall enough yet, Pharaoh? No, I want more. Morum. I want it higher. In morum of fuck'em. And that one that I have chosen, that's a ever who. Whoever, ever who. And it comes from this base word, the bitch, the BH. And you see that in the sacrifice is the ZBH, zabitch. And you see it in the altar, zabitch. Where the bitch is going on the altar. And this here, like a bulrush, this is the priest. And, in Hebrew it's called the Khan. And in the Greek, they'll let you know that that word angel is spelt with a AG, not a AN. That G after the A reads as an N. And it's a con man. And it's also a cog man. And that's what a cog man is, the same as a con man. Middle English, cog. Middle Dutch, cog. Germanic, cog. A hump, ball, or to bend, arch. And it's a trick or a deception. A con man, a cog man, same thing. To load the dice, to cheat, and plagiarize. And you see that in Egyptian, the bulrush is the symbol for Khonsu, the priest, or that was the Egyptian Jesus, the son. The bulrush, Khonsu. This is like the Hebrew H, cha, and N, and X, the Khonsu, you, the God. The con man, cog man, all the same, the priest. And here's one I caught, and let go is to slack. I've been wondering how this reads, I thought it was sail, because they use it for sent in words like that, sent and received, to send away. But, when you're handling lines on a boat, you're moving cargo, to let something go is to slack, SLH, SLCH, slack. And you'll see this PS, the fish, in many different words, turn many different ways through here. This is one of the words, this in the matzah that they're twisting around. And it's where the word passion comes from, and we looking for women, we go fishing. A priest is a fisherman of men. So if you've seen the past couple movies, I'll put them all in this one folder. But that this chapter was talking about the priests getting the women. And that's why they would do it, is when they were the beggars. And for a beggar, when I'll kiss, backward, the kiss it is a kiss of a rear to rear. And then the muffle Q, godel homie. Q is a tail, the tail, a godel, goad, to poke in the ass, a godel, homie. And muffled and quietly. And the rear, muffled, Q, godel, homie. A push'em will vite, the joke, and B, BH, the bitch that'em. The joke be that'em, the joke bitch that'em. And due to yummy address when would at track Egypts and whence, at that time, whence ago N-I-A. Was er if dicks. Dicks is what God said. Dicks to dictate. If dicks. And then back the other way, it's deaf. An Egyptian whence go was her if dicks. If what the Lord said a deaf has. H-O-S, H-A-S. And deaf has not heard what was said. If Dick's deaf has whom, H-U-M, whom sepit, the one who takes the word, whom sepit, all hue, it's like all who, but it's all hue, all shades, all who know, N-O-O-Z-N, who knows, and Adam knew his wife. You get to know her, and knows in is all Wenham sepit in I if a dix and diff, and then the double Q. The second one reads as I-R-N-T. And so if you're deaf, you read hand language. And if Dix deaf has whom sepit, all who knows in, all who knows in, everybody who knows the sign language. And that's what it's getting to down here in line 9. I read another movie. And all who knows in is all Wenham sepit, if Dix different. If the word is different, you can tell if the sound's different. If you read the sign language, you'll know that different. All him itch puts in when. Itch, to itch is to plant. Itch, the plant puts when. Then you can see this fasted here is the limits. L-M-E-T-S. The limits men. And then a double vav, is a W-I, and the L followed by the A is an N. And the limits men wine, and then airy, a winery. To 9 when fishing. 9, that's German for none. We'll have 9 of that, none. To 9 when fishing. And, double V-Y, meaning how or who, and not do. And who not do, and the O-E reading as a vav, and not do when. By a mitzum, committum, it's so. By a mitzum, committum, it's so. And WTS, what's pepits? Pepits is like Pepto-Bismol, P-E-P-T-S, pepits. It has to do with digestion. Pept, combining form that refers to digesting. A peptic ulcer. And by a mitzum, commitsum, so what's digested. In the day of your fast you find pleasure. When by a mitzum, commitsum, so what's pepsits. And a call, a popsicle, the peps, it's a call to eat. From sieve, C-I-V-T-S. From sieve, it's, what you receive. At's visum. Your labors, they come to sieve your advice. And so where you sieve your advice is the priest. And from sieve, it's at's visum. Tinges. That this is the base word niggas, N-G-S, and it's where oppress comes from, to press, to drive, to oppress, and it's also black, it's been tinged, the tinges, the niggas, N-G-S, and the men of Israel was niggas in the day, they were oppressed. And from Steve, it's at's vice, an MT is with, mit niggas, with the oppressed. And then, this reads as a wah, and it's poetry. And he's riding into the next line, in, when, at that time. When to rive, amidst a taxum. And will, a double vav, W-I, and the L's not followed by the A now, so it's a will. And will the cut, and the taxum will the cut in a grip of ration. And the ration of mutts. Is that the bread, the ration of bread, the taxum? And see 'em less from. And then a J-O, a job, the job morum. And to see 'em less from the job morum. The more you work, the less your money you're seeing because you're taxed. The ration of mutts, the taxum, and see 'em less from a job morum. Fuck 'em. That would be us. But it's reading, it's a full, the voice comes from the full, and the more muffle quietly. And come the seas, to take it from you, the seas. Yea, happily, and it's a yes vote. In more a muffle, the seas, yea, it's some. Happily, it's some. A bitch, ever who is a bitch, revive 'em. A bitch revive 'em on what had 'em naps to. A naps. Naps is the base word fish. It's pussy. You see it, thou shalt not naps with your neighbor's wife. And you'll see here, they don't know how to interpret this. A soul, a life, a creature, a person, an appetite, a mind, living being. They don't know how to interpret this because it means many different things. Base word fish, and the fish is pussy, and that's where they get the being. That's our whole purpose of being, is to had 'em. And had 'em naps, wheel, W-E-L, we will sip, the con men, the cog men. And rose who sock, a sock, sack. This is what you're carrying around when you're hungry, when you're out roving. And rose, to raise who sock. To fill, that's what you're doing at Christmas when you're filling the stockings. And rose who sock. And, the VA reads the D-E-D, depree, D-P-R-I-X. That's where your word depreciate come from. The prix is like the Grand Prix, the grand prize. Comes from the word price, to deprice. And depree, the jewels, J-O-O-E, is an odal. The E reads as a vav, J-O-U-L-Z. And rose whose sock depree, the jewels it cram what some mooey muchum, the rection lie. And then, V-E, the second E reading is an I. And veils, some of them are hidden behind the veil. And veiled, the vav A ring is a D. The veiled easy, the veiled these, it's some. A bitch, ever who is a bitch. And re-upped, a bitch re-upped. Some of them was the same woman. She hid behind a veil and come and got her some more, fill her sack some more. And re-upped, and double H, H-I-R-T-S, hurts. The hurts in what is a butt. And the re-upped hurts in what? A the rash, and then the OE, reading is a vav again. It's and the rash, OUT, the out, the rash out, and then rage, RAGD, the rash outraged. What from with who slack, who slacker, it sucks 'em. The slacker, TSUX, it sucks 'em. Hapsome, a cleat, a KLETE, a cleat. It's something you tie it off to, the yoke. A cleatum with it not few. Attach them with it not few, many. And then it is not to share with the hungry, is held, HLD, and held a purse, and not to share, and held a purse to rove will come. And this bread, they're getting it from the LHM, but it means, when people are hungry, the rove will come. They're going to come to who's got the bread. And held a purse, a purse is you've got a sock full. And held a purse to rove will come. A coney, the first I reads the A, KUONAJ, a conage maraudum, a coney maraudum. Wild pack of dogs. A cone, dog, and maraud, looking for plunder, to go about aggressively, wild pack of dogs, to raid, to pillage, maraud, all languages. Held a purse, to rove will come, a cone, the dogs maraudum, the wild dogs come searching. And taboo, the IA read as a U. And the taboo vite. Don't invite them in your house. It's the taboo that you bring to your house. The taboo vite. To see in backwards, HARD, heart, hard. A harder is, AE reads a ES. The harder is a whore, and mucks. Quickly, the mucks it too. The whore quickly it too. Mucks it too. Mucks it to the second varying is an I. Mucks it to in source, and from your own flesh comes from the SRC, source. And the source not, N-O and the T's here. And naughty, N-O-T-T, N-O-T-I, a naughty alum, and they're all nasty. And held a purse to rove will come, a cone, K-U-O-N, the dog in A, the canage maraudum, double M, M-I-R, maraudum. And held a purse to rove will come, a canage maraudum taboo in it. The taboo in it is to via, bring in the house, the vite, to bring vite, and if you've got a purse, that's the taboo, to bring vite, that'll bring the wild pack of dogs. And held a purse to rove will come, a conage maraudum taboo in it, the taboo vite. See harder, a sore, ESOR, a sore, a muxy, the one who's quickly coming, do it quickly. And harder, a sore, muxy, it whom in source, where it comes from whom, the double vav, why, meaning how or who, who'em, in source, naughty, TT, double T, TY, a naughty alum. So this is my gift I got today. I got up this morning, went outside on the porch, and I seen this leech crawling across the porch. And so I picked them up and put them in the jar because the last time I had to buy leeches, they cost me $10 a piece, and they're not too easy to get a hold of because they're government regulated. They're called medicine. And I just happen to have this old bottle of leech food from the last time. It's a salt you feed leeches. And what you do is you just feed them this salt because they'll only feed once every 6 months. And so when you have bad blood in you that you need to get rid of, these leeches are ancient medicine, and it's actually where the old Latin word for doctor come from. And like all Latin, it was actually stole from Old English. The English is older than the Latin. Old Saxon, Old German, Old Irish, Proto Celtic, a physician, a healer. So I feel blessed to have had this leech cross my path this morning. And you can keep them in a warm refrigerator, like in the butter dish. And you probably only have to feed them some salt twice a month, maybe. Just a little bitty. There's a little bitty spoon in there. And if you want to use them for medical purposes, what you do is you get one of them ultraviolet lights that they use in restaurants for sanitizing, and you put them under that ultraviolet light for like a month, and that'll kill anything that might be contaminating them. And I have no idea where it come from. I'm on top of the hill. There ain't no water for a long ways away, but I have had a lot of rain the past 4 days. And maybe it was tired of the water and wanted a dry spot. But I'm going to cut this off here. Good day.